You know, there's a couple of figures who are at the mythological roots of our culture, and you know, people get upset with me because I bring in religious themes, but I understand some things about mythology and religion. And it's not an accident that the axiomatic Western individual is someone who was unfairly nailed to a cross and tortured. It's like, yes, right, exactly. So what do you do about that? Well, I thought about that for a long time too. It's like, well, you don't get together in a damn mob, because all that does is allow you to be as horrible as you could possibly imagine and suffer from none of the consequences. That's a bad idea. So how about we don't do that? Well, there's a deep idea in the West too. It's like, pick up your damn suffering and bear it and try to be a good person so you don't make it worse. Well, that's a truth, you know. I read a lot about the terrible things that people have done to each other. You just cannot even imagine it. It's so awful. So you don't want to be someone like that. Now, do you have a reason to be? Yes! You have lots of reasons to be. God, there's reasons to be resentful about your existence. Everyone you know is going to die. You know, you too. And there's going to be a fair bit of pain along the way, and lots of it's going to be unfair. It's like, yeah, no wonder you're resentful. It's like, act it out and see what happens. You make everything you're complaining about infinitely worse. There's this idea that hell is a bottomless pit, and that's because no matter how bad it is, some stupid son of a bitch like you could figure out a way to make it a lot worse. So you think, well, what do you do about that? Well, you accept it. That's what life is like. It's suffering. That's what the religious people have always said. Life is suffering. Yes. Well, who wants to admit that? Well, just think about it. Well, so what do you do in the face of that suffering?
If I must tell the story of my life, I'll speak of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth scrapes in the imminent deadly breach of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence and portents in my travels history, wherein of antlers vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks and hills whose heads touch heaven, it is my wont to speak. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the Agripanthian men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders, and of my suffering.
Try to reduce it. Start with yourself. What good are you? Get yourself together, for Christ's sake.
The second-hand skivvy chokes as efficiently as a stranger in an alleyway who doesn't know his victim but vents his hate, just the same blue veins protruding like the eyes of a cosmetic queen. Home from her third facelift, she tries to place 2 fingers between the collar and neck for the same protection afforded by anyone to a pet dog, a consideration which she would never allow her husband when he was alive.
Victim? Of course you're a victim. Jesus, obviously. Put yourself together.
My dog did this. I grabbed my arm to keep it shut. No blood, but from the holes ooze yellow worms of fat. You got rid of the dog, of course. A question from the stern intern as he patches and sews. The greyness of shock spares me from answering. After the stitching, my arm sprouted black whiskers.
Or do you want to just forget about the whole meaning thing, and then you don't have any responsibility, because who the hell cares? And you can wander through life doing whatever you want, gratifying impulsive desires, for how useful that's going to be. And you're stuck in meaninglessness, but you don't have any responsibility. Which one do you want? Ask yourself, which one are you pursuing?
Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favour fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also grace and would suffice. It's the smell of hot summertime trash. It's the city noise of a busy street. It's a train derailed and a 2-car head-on freeway crash each time we meet. And if it comes as some sort of surprise, she said that I seem so composed. I've kept this moment closer to my eyes, she said, than the glasses resting on the edge of my nose. Shadow am I, The question of a person, no said reply. Wolf am I, and shadow cast on the sheep as I pass by. Shadow am I, shadow am I, or like a wearing black socks and white woolen locks. Wolf am I, and shadow. She was grace and green as a stem, but I walk heavy on delicate ground as I go, showing off again, self-impressed by how well I can put myself down. And there I go again, to the next further removed level of that same exact feigned humility. The list for me goes on and on to the point of nausea. Like suspicion that's never confirmed, but it's never denied. Wolf am I? No, shadow I think is better, as I'm not something, more like the absence of something. So shadow am I? The whole material world seems to me like a newspaper headline. It explicitly demands your attention and may even contain some truth. And what's really going on here?
It's old. It's the oldest story of mankind. Get yourself together. Transcend your suffering. See if you can be some kind of hero. Make the suffering in the world less. Well, that's the way forward, as far as I can tell, if there is any way forward. And that's what's under assault by the postmodernists. So look out, because they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly why they're doing it. And that's what it looks like to me. So that's it.